Living in America. Yeah, America the Beautiful. That's James Brown? Is it James Brown or is it who was the guy that used to sing Living in America? Living in America. I cannot Rick James. I think yeah, it was Rick James. Rick James. I read about his whatchamacallit? Well, his life. He had a lot of problems with substances and stuff like that, as most musicians and artists do, right? They tend to, well, you get excited, you get the fame, you get the women, and you get the fun, and you lose your mind. I guess it happens to the best of us. It's a gift and a curse, as Mr. Monk used to say. I remember that series, Monk. Monk. That's a good series. It's from 2004, I think. A little bit old, but it's yeah. It has. I think the idea is original, more or less, right? I guess it's similar to Columbo in a way, because Columbo was also a bit of an odd guy who people underestimated, but he managed to. He would always catch him, right? So Monk is a little bit like that, He's got his deficiencies and all that, but I used to say it's a gift and a curse. I can see things that other people don't. So it's just well, as I was walking, there was this guy that I guess I look suspicious. I always do. I always look suspicious because I can't get rid of my face. So I look suspicious, and sometimes I do it on purpose. So the guy was looking at me like, what are you trying to do, man? Because he was coming back from somewhere and entering his house, his home, right? And he was opening the door. The woman was opening the door. And he kind of stayed behind, like, to see what I would do. Like, what are you trying to do, man? You're going to have to go through my dead body if you want to do something. If you want to get to my wife. Anyway. Yeah, that's something that here is very common, People, I think everywhere, but in Spain in particular, uh, there's a lot of assumptions people make. I would say more so than in the US or in other countries. Like even England, when I was in England, I noticed that people were more, um, let's say, relaxed about certain things, appearance, tattoos, and things like that. Whereas here, people are more rigid about those things, I think. They're pretty relaxed about other things, that Americans are not relaxed about, like the human body, what the human body does behind closed doors, the mattress action and all that stuff. They're pretty relaxed about that, especially because they went through a dictatorship. So now they've learned their lesson, I guess. They were repressed for so long that now it's like revenge traveling, huh? Now it's revenge hanky panky. But anyway, so they are people that are very quick to judge, and so many times, not to say that I'm not like that, although I think I'm a little bit less judgmental, mainly because I have I guess I've learned my lesson, through having misjudged people in the past, and also because I am a bit of an exception, and so people will almost always invariably misjudge me, right? Because the face does not match the rest of what I am. And that's fine. I have fun with it. Sometimes I tell people that I'm from Bangladesh or something outrageous like that, that it's actually quite believable. People believe me. and I find it really funny because people will believe so many things, and I have fun with it. I just tell them a lot of things. Like, for example, I just came across this woman that I know who thinks I have a baby, right? And so I just went along with it, like, hey, what's his name? Oh, okay, I just made up a name, and I told her, well, he has a lot of names, but for you, his name is this. The same thing with me. He asked me, oh, what is your name? Because we're not really friends, we just kind of know each other. I said, well, I have a lot of names, but for you, my name is blah blah. And so, she was with her mother, and they were both like, giggling and shit. Anyway, I was just being playful. And these people are immigrants, by the way. They're from Argentina, which is a country I love for the most part. I mean, I've never been there, but I do like their music. I like their literature, and I don't always like their attitude, to be fair. But I guess the worst people are the loudest, so I'm sure it doesn't represent everybody. Just like maybe 99% of them. So anyway, well, gotta go back now because I've been walking a lot. You could hardly see my face, but now you can see it because I'm walking on the more well, there's more light on this side of the city. There was a fair, not a fair. There was some kind of music. Not a music. There was music, but it was not. It's like a small fair, and there was a jazz band, but it was not a real jazz band because there was no drummer. There was no piano player. So it was not a complete band, but they played pretty well actually. I mean, compared to some of the guys I've seen here, they were on point, man. They were happening. I mean, you could tell they've been playing for a while, and so it was all right. It was good. Everything's changing. I was talking to this guy who, a stranger that I met, and he happened to be a pianist. And we were talking about music and how it's so hard to make money with playing music. And he told me, oh, back in the day it was easier before there were DJs and all that stuff. He was an old timer, so what was he going to say, right? I mean, old timers will always talk with nostalgia about the past. I do the same thing, even though I'm not an old timer yet. I am a pre old timer. I'm on the qualifying stages to become an old timer. I've been meeting all the requirements so far. I got the haircut, I got the beard, I got the gray hair, I got the attitude. Although I'm not, I'm a little bit. In some ways, I'm like Clint Eastwood. He said, "I don't let the old man in." That's true. In many ways, I'm like an old man, but in other ways, I'm like a child. I'm very playful, and I think that keeps me in my youth. Even though I'm getting older by the minute. Yeah, I notice that I can still laugh at myself, and I can crack jokes at my expense, and not take myself so seriously, which is a good sign because I know a lot of men around me that are kind of defeated. They're just dragging their feet and just carrying on, and lecturing you about the rules and about this and that, and they're German too, so it comes as no surprise, right? The Germans and the rules, huh? They tried it twice, hey, I gotta give them credit. They tried it twice, they failed, and they recovered pretty well. They have a good economy. Although now that they don't have any like cheap cheap gas from Russia, well, they're finding out. They don't poke the Russian bear. They did it twice, at least once. My sense of history is not so good, but I think they did it at least once. They messed with the Russians and they found out. So don't mess with Russians. Don't mess with Russian women either. They're too dangerous. They're beautiful, but they're honey traps. They're honey traps, man. I mean, I dated a Russian woman once, some time ago when I was yeah, so I was 20 something, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that she was an older woman, right? And obviously she was looking into finding I was going to use the word, finding a cleanup guy. She was looking for a cleanup guy because she had divorced the guy that she had married before, right? And she got her visa through that guy. She got her papers through that guy. He was probably a starter husband, as they call him. You know, she was riding a monkey, not a monkey. She was riding a donkey looking for a horse, as they say. So she dumped the donkey, and not that I was a horse, but I mean, she probably thought, well, this guy could be good enough. You know, he's young, he's intrepid. You know, he's not too stupid. Maybe she just, I don't know. She was really religious, and anyway, the point is that these Russian women, especially the ones living abroad, from what I've heard, they tend to be very duplicitous. You know, they're two-faced little princesses. You know that you can hardly trust. And yeah, so I found out. I've also encountered other Slavic women since then, and yeah, I noticed a similar trend. You know, similar trend. The Slavic magic, I call it. The Slavic magic. I once got involved with this Polish woman, and oh my God, that's quite a story in itself, man. I mean, you know, nothing could kill your witty like a Polish disgruntled woman. You know, she was a bit disgruntled. Although to be fair, she was fairly attractive for her age. She was a bit of a milf. She was very fit, actually. Very, very. She was one of those yoga moms, and her husband had just died, so she was on a rebound. And she was actually quite okay for her age. I never asked her age because I'm a gentleman, but she must have been in her early 40s to mid 40s, something like that. She was happening, man. She was, oh my God, she gave me a good ride. And the last day we saw each other, well, she was getting very insecure, you know. She was saying things like, oh, you're trying to get rid of me, huh? You're trying to get rid of me. Because, you know, I took a long time, not a long time, but I took longer than usual in the bathroom because I think I had too much hot sauce. And so I had well, Band on the Run, you know, like Paul McCartney. And so I was leaking, and not in the right way. I was leaking, so yeah, she took that as a sign of disloyalty. You know, she thought I was cooking other deals, which is not true. You know, I'm a man of my word. You know, I was only focusing on the Slavic magic at that moment. And anyway, she gave me a good ride. I cannot complain. She gave me a very good ride, multiple rides actually. Too bad I don't have any evidence other than my memory. You know, I mean, I should have recorded. Well, no, I'm a gentleman. I never record. Um, but you know, you can always have a little bit of a souvenir here and there, just in case you're struggling to get your millimeter Peter up. You know? So yeah, I do. I'm a bit of a collector, you know, so I do like to keep something to remind myself of what could have been. Like a serial killer, I guess. You know, serial killers, they always keep a souvenir. You know, they cannot help themselves. They gotta keep what's his name? Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy used to do that. You know, and they all do it, I guess. The tall guy, the Kemper, Ed Kemper did it too. I think that these guys are just fetishists, and they're just degenerates, and they can't help themselves. Anyway, so I'm walking now to there's a little theater here. It's not for movies. It's like an actual teatro, you know, in Spanish. Like there's actually like they don't show movies. There's more like plays, you know. I don't know what you call that in English. Like there's plays, there's performances, and Yeah, so I think something was going on here, and now you can see people out here chatting and killing time, and people with their beer bellies and all that. So anyway, I'm just walking here to see what's happening. Let's see, you can hear the Spanish. You can hear the Spanish, can't you? Yeah, the beautiful Spanish. The beautiful Spanish. Okay, so there's a concert, New Year's Eve concert, and yeah, I don't know if I'd be interested in this because I see a lot of old timers here, and they might be. Well, anyway, I don't know if this is good enough. And now we have the train station here. You can't see it, of course, but yeah, this train station is very nice. It looks a little bit like the White House. I mean, not the White House, but it looks kind of fancy, kind of fancy. I mean, for American standards, it would be fancy because train stations over there, except for Union Station, are pretty. I mean, metro stations are pretty normal. I would say, like, there's nothing uh, too striking about them. Whereas here, you have like the old mixed with the new, so it's a little bit more appealing to the eye. Oh my god, I've been walking for so long today. Yeah, too bad I don't have. Well, I don't ride my bike anymore. I wish I could. Because riding a bike is cool. You don't really get tired too much, especially because it's flat and it's pretty convenient. But I'm kind of scared of riding a bike these days because, well, I don't want to break a leg. I don't want to get run over. I guess we all become. It's funny. Old people are always talking to you about all the dangers, and you kind of laugh at them until you get a little bit older and you realize that yeah, there's danger or there's perceived danger, and even if nothing happens, you feel more vulnerable. I don't do the stupid things I used to do when I was 20. I mean, thank God, and my body can't take it anyway, even if I try. So there's a time and a place for everything, as they say. And anyway, I'm gonna go home and watch a movie. Peace out.